This is today is the second anniversary of the U.S.-Korea Free Trade Agreement. This, while the administration is pushing, and there's all this hoop-de-doop about SHAFTA, the Southern Hemisphere Asian Free Trade Agreement, also known as the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the TPP. So they're pushing SHAFTA, the TPP, but it's the second year of the KAFTA, the Korean Free Trade Agreement, or KAFTA, maybe we should call it, or Kafka. It's certainly Kafkaesque. And this was the Korean Free Trade Agreement was sold to us on the idea that, oh, it's wonderful. We'll be able to export all this stuff to Korea. We'll make all kinds of money. It'll help our trade, our balance of trade deficits, which is actually the worst. That's the deficit we need to worry about. There are two deficits that we need to worry about. One is all the money that American companies are stashing offshore. We discovered today it's almost $2 trillion. They added another couple $100 billion this last year. This in today's New York Times. I'll get to that in more detail in a moment. And the second is our trade balance. Because when we buy more than we sell, other countries end up sitting on a lot of our dollars, and they've got to spend them ultimately here in the United States, where the country that creates the dollars. And so they end up coming over here and buying up our businesses, buying our buildings, buying our forests, basically buying us. And eventually, there's not much of us left. Plus, when we're buying things from overseas, we're not buying them from domestic manufacturers. We're not buying them from manufacturing companies here in the United States. I think I mentioned our friend Richard from Melbourne, from Australia, spent the day Sunday with Louise and me. He was in New York 2 days before, on Friday, speaking at a conference on neurology. In fact, he's actually the president of the society that puts on the conference. And he came down and spent the day with us Sunday, and he took Amtrak from New York down to D.C. And he said, my God, that's so, I don't remember the exact phrase he used, but just it's devastating. If you've never taken the train from New York to D.C. and you have an opportunity to, go for it. First of all, if you take the Acela, it's not a bad train ride. It's a very nice train ride. In fact, it's only 3 hours. It's faster than flying when you consider the time that you have to get to the airport and go through security and stand in line and check your bag and get your bag and all that stuff, and then get to and from the airports and everything else. And the train stations are both downtown in New York and D.C. So you go from Union Station to Pennsylvania Station. It's just, from downtown to downtown in 3 hours, roughly. But beyond that, this is an educational experience that every American should have. Because when my dad was a kid, in the 1940s and 1950s, and when he was a young man, even in the 1960s, if you took the train from New York to Washington, D.C., you passed, or even the 1970s, you passed mile after mile after mile of factories and housing that was filled with people who worked in the factories, prosperous neighborhoods, factories just banging out stuff left and right, all kinds of things, from precision tools to blue jeans. Furniture, you name it. It was being made along the Northeast Corridor, and people manufactured right up to, in factories that ran right up to the railroad line, because they shipped things by rail. And they're all gone now. It's absolutely astounding. It's like a moonscape in some places. Or actually, it's more like something out of Blade Runner. As you're taking that train up there, you see these factories, huge factories, that haven't been occupied since the middle of the Reagan administration, or the middle of the Bush or Clinton administration, the first Bush or Clinton administration. They have been occupied 10, 15, 20, 25 years as a result of these insane free trade agreements that we've entered into. And the windows are smashed out. There's graffiti all over them. In some cases, the roofs have been burned out and caved in. Homeless people have lived in them. They've been used as drug warehouses. They got gang graffiti on them. And you pass miles of housing, beautiful 2- and 3-story brownstone kind of, row houses that come almost right up to the tracks. That were the prosperous neighborhoods of blue-collar workers who had good union jobs, who worked in these factories and middle-class schools, the whole thing. And it's all empty. The roofs are burned out and caved in. The windows are boarded up or not. That's the Northeast Corridor. So the numbers are out about the 2 years into the experiment with Korea. We just tried it with one country. You'd think we would have learned after 30 years of this insanity. But we tried it just 2 years ago, and this was, at the strong suggestion of President Obama. Hey, let's cut a deal with Korea. And Public Citizen has issued a news release on this. Lori Wallach's group. Citizen.org is the website. And I think it's citizen.org/trade for their trade watch. But you can just go to citizen.org and you can click into it. The headline of their press release says, on the second anniversary of U.S.-Korea Free Trade Agreement, U.S. exports down 11%, imports from Korea up, and the deficit with Korea balloons 47%. We have lost 46,000 good-paying U.S. factory jobs as a result of just this 2-year experiment of a free trade deal with Korea. We have lost an average of $385 million every month in exports to Korea, a cumulative $9.2 billion in exports to Korea. Our agricultural exports to Korea have fallen 41%. Our trade deficit with Korea has grown by 19%. And here's what's most amazing. Korea has actually increased their imports from every other country except the United States by 2%. So they're buying less from us, they're selling more to us, and they're buying more from other countries. Probably most of it is China, which doesn't have, they have theoretical free trade deals, but the way that they work them, they're not really free trade deals with anyone. So there's that.